How's everybody tonight? All right, let's thank Firm Foundation real quick. What a nice thing. I got to take this for a quick test drive just because I've never seen the carpet up here. I've never spoken the microphone, so I don't know what's going on up here. All right, so there we go. But what an honor and a privilege to come out tonight to speak for you guys on sponsorship. It's something that holds near and dear to my heart. It's something that keeps growing in a daily fashion for me. My name's James, and I'm a recovered alcoholic. And my sobriety date is September 18th of 2021, so we just celebrated over 2 years in the last 4 days. Thank you. So sponsorship. I come from Fellowship of AA, and in the 164 of AA, it doesn't mention the word sponsor once. It's pretty remarkable for those that have come before us, and before a fellowship was ever in place or in line, someone actually had the discipline, obedience, direction to read a book and start a fellowship within their own community. And that's just unbelievable. I come from the school of, if you're asked to speak, you suit up and you show up. So I don't know what kind of message I'm going to deliver tonight, but this program of action is more about demonstration than it is about what is said. And demonstration is key to continually growing, right? In sponsorship, I initially started out with a guy that basically was cherry-picked. He was exactly what I wanted. He was exactly the same career as me. He had the same relationship mess-ups as I had going on in my life. He was divorced and such. And I thought that I could manipulate this guy. And little did I know, I wasn't just wasting this guy's time, but I was strengthening his program because he was going to do this with or without me. I was basically available for him to continue to stay sharp. And I ended up suffering for a long time because of not taking his quality direction, and I was able to make an amends to him. And after years of struggle, I ended up finding a sponsor and going through this work step by step, and ended up having the ability to take other men through this work. Every single day, being available for others and to be able to carry a message of not only AA, but of God to everyone within the community, being a pillar of the community, being a member of a fellowship, having the unity that's available. A lot of times I hear different things on service and sponsorship, and sponsor is not being of service from the fellowship in which I come. Service is when you have a home group. Service is when you have a coffee commitment, and you're a greeter, and you're setting up chairs, and you're making the meeting actually happen, and you're unlocking the church. Being a sponsor is nothing more than fulfilling your 12-step responsibility. And if you go through this work and you end up going through 12 traditions and you end up going into potential concepts and things of that nature, there's a I am responsible pledge. And I am responsible to lend the hand of AA and God to anyone who is in need. Yes, of course, it's serving, but service is a little bit different. I wrote some key notes here because I wanted to go like a cappella on the fly, but at the same time, I didn't want to get lost in everything I was doing here. When a man asks me to be available to sponsor him, that means that I literally have to be available. I have to contact my employer. I have to be in a situation of vulnerability with my employer that if someone's going to call me at 11:15 and tell me that they're having a crisis, a life crisis, I'm going to have to take that call. I can't just be like, listen, I'm going to call you at 6 o'clock, don't die. That's not going to work, right? That's not a really healthy relationship as being a sponsor with somebody, right? So having this kind of responsibility and having this kind of thing, it says in the second step, when we go full circle and we're utilizing the AA literature, it says, when we took such a sincere position, we have a new employer, right? What does the word sincere mean? Sincere means honest, right? So when I took an honest position, and it says in our literature in the spiritual experience that there are 3 principles of which are indispensable, and that's honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. And that word honesty means sincere and fair. And if I'm not being sincere and fair in all of my affairs, I'm a dishonest person. Having a very, very tunnel vision thing to just think that honesty means that I'm not lying is something entirely not true. The level of willingness to be available when someone calls and they say, hey, I want to do step work right now. It's 11:45 at night. We live in a world of technology. I was able to have the opportunity of sponsoring a man who lives in Elkton, Maryland, that from 11:45 till 1:30 in the morning, twice a week, that's when he had time, and that's when he wanted to do it, and that's when we did it. In the world of the Spirit, there is no such thing as time, right? Time doesn't exist. Time is man-made, and when someone's willing, we have to act, right? You have to act on that when they are willing and when they are available to do such things. That was a really cool experience too, by the way. I mean, it was really awesome for the level of willingness, because we talk about any lengths. What are we willing to go to any lengths to recover? Well, someone that's willing to do step work at midnight for 3 hours they got something going on. And I can relate to that because I was at the hopeless state. I was at the absolute hopeless state of mind and body. And that's why I get to say today that I am a recovered alcoholic. I've recovered from mind and body. That spiritual malady that I suffered for so long is something that I was able to, with my sponsor's help, develop a relationship with God, and something that I continue to seek and grow in every single day. And pass that forward to other men that I work with. I really want to say something about my sponsor, Chris, and he is such a wonderful guy. What drove me to him and what brought me to him was his prayer game, right? And it's something that I'm still working on myself, but this man's prayer game was so on point. It was so attractive, and that's what this program is also about. And being in recovery is about attraction rather than promotion. It's about that demonstration piece. It's not about what people have. It's not about what type of material things you have. It's about the way you carry yourself, your conduct, and your availability. Having that mindset of, just don't drink today, just don't use today. That goes nowhere, right? That doesn't help anybody. But if we ask ourselves a very simple question, and at least on the recordings that we have, it says, to thy own self be true, right? If I'm going to be available today, and I'm going to push the narrative of being available, how could I ever be available if I'm intoxicated? And if I'm being honest with myself, I can never be available if I'm intoxicated. I might be able to be responsible. Well, not a guy like me, but an individual may be able to be responsible, but they're not going to be available, right? It's one of those things where, somebody calls you and they say, hey, I want to help me fix my tire on 95. And I'm like, well, I've been drinking today and I can't come down there. And, but, thanks for calling, and I'm not going to, put anybody else in jeopardy. That's being responsible, but it's still not available, right? But pushing that narrative of being available, can I take that call? Can I be available when somebody else needs a hand, right? And it's lending that hand at any point in time, no matter what, without any type of recognition, right? I heard Pastor Mark, this is my home church, by the way. I love the journey, and I got baptized right here. This was an awesome experience. It was right there. It was so cool. I was the first one that got to go that day. But, Pastor Mark said something it really hit me, and he says such an awesome message in his deliveries every week. But he said that people that claim exhaustion are seeking credit and validation. And there is no exhaustion in this world of the Spirit. When someone calls me and they want to do this work, I get this power that flows into me that I didn't have, and there's this rush of energy. And all I want to do is just be available to go through this literature, go through this work, and help somebody else to have exactly what I've been able to receive. And it's truly been a beautiful thing. One last thing that I want to kind of mention on here before I quit talking up here is being a sponsor, sometimes we have to be available to call the proper authorities, right? And that's something that comes with being a rational thinker, having some logic, having some experience, and having some kind of true safety network. Don't ever do a 12-step call by yourself, no matter what. Don't go, because you have no idea what you're going to run into. Always have somebody with you. in an event like that where you're going to go somewhere where someone is actively using, I know what I did when I was actively using, and I don't know what I did when I was actively using because I was in blackouts. Have somebody that you know that where you're going to be. Call the police if you need to, if that's something that is required. Don't put yourself in harm's way. Thank you for this opportunity. I am greatly appreciative for having it, and may God always be with you and trudge the happy road of destiny. Thanks for letting me speak.